My next guest has won more bodybuilding awards, I think, than anyone in history. And his latest film is called Commando, opens on October 4th. And he has a book out called The Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding.
That's lifting it,
And if you just bench press this several times a day, you will not have to buy any weights at all. Would you welcome, please, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You got about a 10-pound book there.
Well, you were right. You don't need any weights for this book.
Just sit back and...
You just do the exercises in there, and instead of having a barbell,
Yeah.
you use the book to the cross with the book.
Do you work out every day? Every other day?
I would say 6 days a week.
6 days
Yeah,
a
with
week.
weights, and run 3 times a week, and then do other exercises that we shouldn't talk about here in front of the people.
You slide
So I
dog.
do everything.
Hey, congratulations.
But,
you look very well. You look very happy.
Thank you, I am.
I understand you are now officially engaged to a very lovely young lady, Maria Shriver.
That's right.
So,
Thank you very much.
congratulations.
Thank you.
You have been keeping company, as they say. Where I grew up, they said keeping company for what, more than a few years? 4, 5, 6?
We met 8 years ago in New York at the tennis tournament.
Right.
And we've been going out ever since. And when I met her, I pretty much knew that she would be the girl for my life. But
How did you know
to make the decision to get married is a whole different ballgame. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, you're worried about losing your freedom and all those things. I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
How did you know when you met Maria that that's the lady that you I'd like to marry?
She just fit everything that I wanted in a woman. You know, she was very pretty, very smart, very independent, very strong, and came from a good background. So it was just the whole kind of her personality is just It doesn't quit. You know, I mean, she's just all over the place at the same time. You know, so she's wonderful, and I'm very happy about that. And I think that I'm very lucky. Yeah.
That's great. But 8 years is kind of a long engagement, though.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that I'm going past the 7 years, which is supposed to be the 7-year itch.
Oh, that's right.
And so then I knew everything would be perfect after the 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually, somebody said you proposed while you were in Europe?
I went, I planned this whole thing. I went to Austria, to my hometown, Graz.
Right.
And I proposed there, and we got engaged in Graz. And because we're going to get married in her hometown, which will be in Hyannisport.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought the engagement over there and the marriage over here, and it was very romantic, very nice, and my mother was very happy, and her parents were very happy because they knew that I'm the best things in sliced bread. And so,
Did your mother ever say, like some mothers do, Arnold, why don't you get married when you were younger?
no, my mother, she liked the idea, I think, for me not being married, because she felt that then I would pay more attention to her. See, my father died around, it was 12 years ago, and so I was the only one really there to take care of her, and so she felt that I would have all this time just for her. But, you know, so she was first shocked when I told her about the engagement, but then she got used to the idea after around 10 minutes of convincing her this was the right thing to do. And but I mean, she wanted me to be just there for her.
Yeah. Going home, I guess, now for you must be different than maybe it was some years ago with all the exposure you've had in the motion pictures and everything. What kind of reaction do you get when you go back home?
Oh,
it must be tremendous.
Yeah, first of all, as you know, the Austrian ski team hasn't been doing well in the last few years. And so I think that I'm kind of the replacement for that. So I became the last few years like a national hero in Austria, and I get a lot of good publicity there, and my films are doing really well, and so it's really wonderful to go back to Austria and to my hometown.
Right.
I really enjoy that, to go back. And now I look, of course, at the whole country differently than when I left 18 years ago.
Yeah, when you grow up, you're not really conscious sometimes. Do you go back and visit if of what you did have when you grew up, right?
Exactly. I mean, you go back now and you realize that this is a really wonderful historic place, number one, and it is really a beautiful country with a lot of great culture and so on. So I took Maria, for instance, to the Salzburger Festspiele, the music festival, and showed that there are various different operas there, and to Munich and so on. Really showed a few things, and I therefore could see again Austria from a whole different side.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, I hated classical music.
Really?
Oh, when my parents were telling me I should listen to classical music, I hated it. Now I love it, because now I can appreciate it. You know, you grow up and you get smarter and you can appreciate the things.
Did you have a happy childhood when you were?
Very happy childhood, yeah, very good upbringing, and my parents were terrific. And I think that's why I'm also looking forward to having a family and having children, because I had a really good childhood myself.
Yeah. Somebody told me the people in your hometown always ask you about the movie stars they're most familiar with. And they're the older ones. Is that true? Not so much the younger ones?
Or the ones that have been around for a while and that are really mature actors. Like I remember Kirk Douglas is somebody that a lot of people always ask me about Elizabeth Taylor and people like that. You know, so really established actors. They don't know that much about the young actors. Clint Eastwood they all know very well. He's the big hero over there, international star. Or Burt Reynolds, for instance, and so yeah.
Now, Commando, you played one where you played a mean villain, the Terminator. Mm-hmm. Now you're back to playing a hero, right?
I play a hero, but the film is those people who liked or loved Terminator, they will really love Commando, because it's as intense, if not much more intense than Terminator is. And
how can it be more intense than Terminator?
It is. It's violent. It's a great story, but it's action-packed from the beginning to the end. And we have a wonderful actress in there, Ray Dawn Chung, who is just a terrific actress and very good with comedy. And she's kind of the comic relief in the movie, because the movie really is so intense that it needs that. But it's a wonderful film, and people really will love this film. It will be for everybody to see.
How many times have you been, in person, you're impressive, physique-wise. On screen, you look monumental. I mean, bigger than life-size.
Yeah, that's true. It's just, it depends. If I wear a jacket, I wear on purpose a dark jacket, so I look smaller. When you wear lighter clothes, then you look bigger. Right. Or when I take my jacket or my shirt off, in a film, for instance, the end of the film, the last third of the film, I've made my shirt off, then it looks much bigger, because the muscles, the definition, all those muscles come out, and so it makes you look much bigger. Yeah. And on a screen, I think everybody looks bigger.
Right. Yeah, because it is larger than life, of course. Did you ever get hurt in these pictures?
A lot of times. In this last picture on Commando, I was injured all the time, because you end up doing all the stunts yourself, except the car
It's difficult for somebody to stand in for you. It would be pretty obvious. It would be pretty obvious.
That's true. You're right. It's very difficult, and you end up doing all this stuff yourself. You know, with stunt coordinators always think that when you have a body like that you can handle just about anything, and they come very casually to you in the morning and they say, listen, the next thing we do is you just run here from here to there, you shoot a few times through this window, and then you fly or jump through this French door. You know, and then all of a sudden you start thinking about it. Well, how does one jump through a French door? You know, I mean, for a stuntman, it's maybe something that he has done before, but I mean, I've never done it before. It's not something that you do every day, it's jumping through French doors. So, you know, you worry about those things, and then, of course, you end up doing it, but you get injured, and I have I was rushed to the hospital 3 times during the shooting of Commando, getting stitches on my elbows or hand, getting stabbed with knives, and my shoulder bone was chipped because of this one jump through the French door and things like that.
Well, marriage ought to be a snap for you now. You got all the tough stuff out of the way.
That's right, yeah. But it's fun doing films like this. It's just that there are risks involved, and you just have to take those risks, because, like you say, it's very hard to double somebody, especially when you have your shirt off, because no one has the same kind of a physique. There are a lot of big stuntmen around, but they don't have the same kind of
What do you think about women's bodybuilding? That has become something that a few years ago nobody would have even entertained. But now the women are getting into it.
Well, I like the idea that women can participate now in sports as freely as men do, because they 20 years ago there was a no-no, and now they're involved in all kinds of sports, not only just in female bodybuilding, but in shot put, in weightlifting, in all different things. And sports, as far as I'm concerned, are for people, not for just men or just women or so. So I think this is very encouraging, and it's terrific. Now, if it is a sexual turn on, that is something for each one to decide for themselves. You know, some people like muscular women, other men like more the round women, and so each one has their own taste.
Where do you fit in this?
I go for Maria's body and for her looks. Was that a diplomatic answer?
No, that's a perfect answer. That's a perfect diplomatic answer.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. You make good points today.